How to replace a broken wheel stud on a 2006 Malibu. May apply to other model years too. Jack the car up and support with a jack stand. If you don't have an impact wrench, loosen the lug nuts before you jack the car up. Always wear safety goggles and protective mechanics gloves. Remove the wheel. Remove the two bolts that hold the caliper to the carrier that holds the brake pads. You want to have a bungee cord ready to support the caliper. You never want to let it dangle by the brake hose. Remove the two bolts that hold the carrier for the brake pads, and then remove the carrier with the brake pads. Remove the rotor. Then just bang out the rest of the broken wheel stud with a sledgehammer. If it's flush with the hub, then use a drift to push it out. About the only place that you can insert a new wheel stud in from the back of the hub is this one place here, and it's got this metal tab that you can cut away. It's part of the backing plate. Then you also have to grind a little bit of the backing plate that sticks up. It's like a little bit of a flange between the carrier and the wheel bearing carrier and the hub. Next, you're going to have to grind down the end of the wheel stud a little bit. Now the wheel stud fits in with just a little bit of force. I used an air hammer drift and a sledgehammer to drive it back in. And if you turn you're working the wheel well, so if you turn the sledgehammer like 90 degrees and hit it not on the ends but on the face, the broad face of it, it gives you a lot more room to swing the hammer. And you can try heating up the carrier a little bit around the hole. It might make it go in, but it took about 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of banging on it to get it in. And I held the air hammer drift, or whatever you want to call it. I held it with a pair of vice grips. That gave me a little bit more flexibility with hitting the end of it without without holding it with my hand and smacking a finger or something. Then once the wheel stud's in, just reverse all the procedure and put everything back the way you took it off, and just in reverse order. And the part that you cut, I used a saber saw to cut that metal tab, and you want to make sure that the ends aren't rubbing against anything. I couldn't get what happened is I couldn't get the brake caliper back on, and the reason why is because it was bent out of the normal. Even though it was cut, the ends were bent different than they were originally, and it was hitting the caliper, and I couldn't figure it out for about 5 or 10 minutes. So you can trim it down even more. I used like I said, I used a saber saw to cut through it with a steel cutting bit.